Welcome students. In the previous lecture, we have seen two steps in the manufacture of sugar from sugarcane. The first one was extraction of juice and the second one was the clarification or depuration of this extracted juice. Now we are proceeding for the next step. Now this extracted juice after clarification is concentrated in evaporators because this juice contains much of water and that water should be removed, and it is removed in the evaporators, that is water is evaporated and it is done in vessels known as evaporator. The same steam is used in multiple, and therefore these evaporators are known as multiple effect evaporators. Of course, it is an apparatus for efficiently using the heat from the steam to evaporate water from the juice. Here the juice is boiled in sequence of evaporators, each held at lower pressure than the last. That is, the first evaporator has more pressure than the second. That is, the last evaporator is having low pressure than the second, which is having again low pressure than the first. This causes the boiling of the juice at a lower temperature. Now students, what happens when the juice enters into the first evaporator? The steam also enters into the same evaporators. I will show in the diagram. This is the diagram unit of multiple effect evaporators. These are the evaporators and these are the connections are shown here. These are the connections. Okay. Now the feed, that is a juice. This is a feed. Juice enters. It is forced into the first evaporator. The juice passes from the bottom to the second evaporator. Again here it is forced and passes to the third evaporator. This is the way of passing the juice through the evaporators. Now the steam. The steam passes here. This is the steam passes through this calendra. The heat exchange takes place. The juice gets boiled. Steam loses its temperature, and the lowered steam is entered from the top to the calendra of the second evaporator. Again the heat exchange takes place, but here the pressure is lowered and therefore the juice boils at lower temperature, that is boiling point is decreased, and hence the same steam can boil the juice, and thus boiling of juice takes place, water is removed and the juice is transferred to the third evaporator. Here the juice transfer. The steam which is entering, this is a steam entering in the second evaporator. Again the temperature of the steam decreases. The same steam is passed through the top of the second evaporator and it enters in the calendra of the third evaporator. Heat exchange takes place and thus again the juice is boiled and thus effect is multiplied. Same steam is used for the boiling of the juice. Here the steam is collected. This is the juice which is heated. Now the juice is converted into syrup, that it As much of water is removed from the juice, it becomes thick and it is called as a syrup. Now this is the diagram. This is a bottlenecked multiple effect evaporators. You have to draw this diagram in the examination. This is the path of the steam, while this is the path of the cane juice, that is clarified juice. The juice here, yes, enters into the second evaporator, enters in the third evaporator, enters in the fourth. Yes, there may be 3-4 evaporators in series, and this is the path of steam. Steam to the calendra, yes. To the condenser. Now, thus the evaporation of the juice takes place and juice becomes syrup. Now, this concentrated juice, that is the syrup, is further taken for crystallization, because it is a saturated, and you are knowing when saturated solution, the crystallization may take place. The crystallization is process which is done or carried out after evaporation of the water, and this is done in the crystallizers. Here the syrup is boiled at low temperature under partial vacuum, and some seeding, that is the grains, sugar grains of the previous batch, are added, which helps in the development of sugar crystals by the process of nucleation, and thus the massicate, that is a semi-solid mass, is formed containing crystals of sugar and mother liquor. Now, there are normally 3 vacuum pans for crystallization. Why they are called as a vacuum? Because see the diagram. These are the vacuum pans. Okay. These are the series of pans. Now, yes, I will take the back again. Yes. The syrup, that is the concentrated syrup in evaporators, enters in the first pan A, where again boiling takes place and crystallization of the sugar crystal starts, giving a thicker liquid, that is a massicate. The methods of crystallization, there are number of methods used. The first method is, yes, we have seen, that is a seeding of grains to achieve the nucleation, and then the crystal size may grow. The second method is a waiting method, that is wait for time and you will get the crystals of sugar. There is a shocking treatment is also, that is cold syrup is added to the hot syrup, which causes the cooling, giving the crystals of sugar, and therefore there are methods, different methods are used for the crystallization. As the crystals are formed they must be separated from the mother liquor, and this separation is achieved in the centrifugal machine. And therefore we are entering, these are the vacuum pans, you have seen, we are entering in the centrifugal section where the sugar crystals are separated and they are collected in the sugar house. Now, centrifugal separation of sugar crystals from massicate. Thus, massicate is formed in the vacuum pan is taken for centrifugation, and this centrifugation method, the heavier sugar crystals are thrown to the wall of the centrifugal machine, and thus they get separated from the mother liquor. The separated crystals are dropped from the wall of the machine, while mother liquor, which remains in the middle portion of the vacuum pan, is collected. Thus, the sugar crystals and mother liquor are separated from each other. The sugar crystals are then dried by passing the hot air, and they are taken for bagging for the purpose of transportation, while the mother liquor is known as blackstrap molasses is collected, it is discarded from the crystallization, that is a centrifugal machine, and is stored in the molasses tank. Now these are the centrifugal machines. This is the shaft which is rotating. This is a rotating. Sugar crystals are heavier and they are thrown to the inner wall of this machine here. Yes, this is the diagram. This is the inner wall. Here the sugar crystals are thrown. This is the rotation, and the heavier sugar crystals are thrown to the wall. Okay, and the mother liquor is discarded. Yeah, this is the same diagram. Here, number of machines, that is the centrifugal machines, are shown. Now, as the sugar crystals are dried, they are dropped for screening purpose. Why they are screened? Because due to the difference in the size of sugar crystals, they are separated according to the grade, bigger crystals, smaller crystals. Okay, this is the screening of sugar crystals. After screening, the sugar is bagged. This is the bagging of sugar. It is bagged into the sacks according to weight. The sack may be of 50 kg, 25 kg, and after bagging, these sacks are stored in the storeroom, that is a godown. Here the storage of sugar we can see, and from this godown the sugar is transported to the market for selling purpose. Now the mother liquor, that is a molasses, this is the molasses, is discarded from the centrifugal machine and is stored in the molasses storage tank, and this molasses is further used for number of purposes for making, that is the production of ethanol by fermentation method, we are going to see in deep in next. With this, I conclude my lecture. Thank you.